walk us through the process a little bit, Amy, of how do you recover, especially in a situation it's not a public company? What's the actual sort of day-to-day tasks that he has to do at this point?
I think the first task, and I'm sort of simplifying, but you find out where the assets are at first, and then you figure out how to secure them. So in FTX's case, it has all these coins and it's working with third-party exchanges, including its own exchange, which has collapsed. So how do you find out if you can get those, assuming they have any value? Maybe they do, maybe they don't, into a safe spot. And how do you figure out who's gonna work there and who's not? Over the weekend, there was a story that the other people who were obviously the top executives along with SBF, he's fired them, they're out. So he has to figure out who's trustworthy and who's not in order to find out what's there at this business and what can be saved. I think the Enron example is interesting because he came in and it was obviously this massive blow up, and there were fraud charges filed against the founder and the CEO, and the CEO went to prison for 12 years over that. And he managed to get back over 50 cents on the dollar for creditors, which was absolutely not expected.
Which raises the interesting question of who do you work for? And of course, ideally you're working for the owners and the creditors, but simultaneously, if there does end up being a criminal probe, that changes the nature of the game and what you're looking for. Is there some sense that, at this point, it feels like it's still under investigation like everything else? How does that shift the activities? And is he really, at this point, looking for where's the money and how do we get it back?
I mean, I think those investigations at this point are all, very nascent. As you mentioned, I mean, there's the SEC is looking, the Department of Justice is looking, everybody is looking. When something blows up this spectacularly and $8 billion is not there, there's obviously going to be massive investigations. I think he would work with those investigators. In a sense, it becomes like a parallel track. So you've got the criminal investigation, if there is to be one, and you've got the creditors and any civil litigation.
Your headline is the adult in the is this a company that, I mean, we obviously know the age of Sam Bankman-Fried and his colleagues. Were there other signs that this was a company that was perhaps didn't have adults in the room besides the implosion of the exchange itself?
I think so. I mean, I think the ages and the implosion, it is obviously clear that the adults weren't in the room. There was one detail in that filing last week that struck me as being very indicative, even though it was small, which was that expense reports and all expenses were signed off with emojis in chat, which is obviously not how a grown-up or publicly traded or even a venture-backed company should be operating.
Let's hope he knows how to use those emojis, right, and decipher them. So what are you looking what are you looking for from here? Because on average, is there an average stint in terms of how long he's stayed in companies like this? If you're a cleanup artist, you're not there to build a career.
You're not, but these things take a long time. And when I was talking with people who've worked with him before and who've been in this field for a long time, they say this takes years. I mean, Enron took 10 years. This could take 10 years, more than 10 years to finish. Whether he would be there for the whole thing or not, obviously, is an open question. But he would stay certainly up to the point that that things are cleaned up, that someone else could step in, or this could be wrapped up.